Fargo's been a dumping hub for medical waste across the U.S. for years.
There's only so many incinerators, and we were one of the regional locations, and it was more economical for those facilities from California, Washington, West Coast to send it to Fargo.
4 years ago, during the Ebola outbreak, Fargo was one of just a few places throughout the country where infectious waste could be destroyed. Fargo's Healthcare Environmental Services Incorporated, known as HESI, had an incinerator that could do the job. Now, after failing an emissions test last March, HESI says it shut down its incinerator for good, as it would take up to $1 million to upgrade it.
It really was a business decision. The incinerator is old technology, it's an old piece of equipment.
But a neighboring building manager says the shutdown was long overdue. Lonnie Larson first became a neighbor to the building in 2011.
I was walking the perimeter and noticed a bunch of broken vials full of blood and different medical waste that was in a snowbank that they had pushed off their parking lot onto our property.
When he brought it to Fargo's hazmat facility,
was kindly said to bring it back and be neighborly about it.
The health department said it would monitor the situation.
And that was about the end of the discussion there.
Emails from other neighbors wishing to remain anonymous, saying no action was taken. One neighbor says this has been going on even decades before 2011. But the health department says over the years, if the incinerator failed any tests, it would remedy the situation within the required time. Then in 2014, neighbors began to document dark, thick smoke, saying it caused corrosion to their buildings and even vehicles.
As far as the corrosion, it's hard to discern. You know as well as I do that water in itself can corrode and rust. On the other hand, for me to say it absolutely wasn't anything else, we can't say that.
This email from the health department blames the smoke on the angle of the sun. But judge for yourself. These pictures were taken at night. When I spoke to the health department, they said sometimes there was visible dark smoke, but only for about a minute at a time. Finally, in May of 2018, neighbors heard the incinerator was shut down. Neighbors say they're relieved, but they'd still like to know what took so long. So what comes next? Emails from HESI show they had plans to move forward on bringing in a more environmentally friendly way to destroy waste through a company called Monarch Waste Technologies. But HESI tells me that's just one possibility, and they're not in any rush to pick out the new technology since it can ship 80% of its waste to Valley City to be autoclaved. They say the other 20% that can't get shipped out of state. Reporting in the studio, rose.itzcovitz, Valley News Live.
I don't think it's right if people can sit and smoke marijuana in front of children.
My biggest issues with it are the criminal justice side. In North Dakota, if you're within 1,000 feet of a university, it's an automatic felony, simple possession.
The differing stances are about as strong as a high THC strain. But Measure 3, a petition that would legalize marijuana and wipe out most previous pot convictions, has various officials using their positions to voice their opinions. Here's the Williams County Sheriff's Office linking a Vote No website to its Facebook page. And Cavalier County Sheriff's Office posting this, saying the state's Sheriff's Association opposes the measure the way it's written before taking the post down, and then reposting something similar.
They're using a position of authority to try and influence an election. There's a reason we have this law on the books.
The law Dave Owen of Legalize ND is referring to is North Dakota Century Code 16.1-10-02. Stating no person may use any property belonging to or leased by any agency for any political purpose. But according to the sheriff who posted the message, the county Facebook page doesn't count as property.
I have spent no money to push this. I mean, I put a post on Facebook. I mean, I just think it's my right to help my citizens. That's what I did.
The issue was that you posted that on your sheriff's Facebook page. Meaning that's not your personal property. That
is my personal sheriff's page.
But that's your professional page. That's the professional county's page. That's not your personal page. As you as Greg, that's you as the sheriff.
Right. And I have a right to do that.
You want people to vote a certain way on a bill.
No, I don't. I want them to vote the way they feel after they read the bill. I oppose the measure the way the bill is written, and I have a First Amendment right to say that.
The Cavalier County State's Attorney didn't immediately respond to my request for comment, and when I reached out to the Attorney General about it, I was told it's not in their jurisdiction. Other attorneys say the way it's written leaves room for interpretation. But Dave Owen says he believes the sheriff made a simple mistake, though he says it doesn't make it right.
When the police tell us something, we inherently trust them. When our representatives tell us something, they think that's the opinion of the state, and it's not.
In Langdon, North Dakota, rose.itzcovitz, Valley News Live. So a little more background on the Century Code and why it's not as black and white as we'd like it to be. Well, one attorney tells me it was written in the 80s, and though it was revised in the 2000s, it doesn't really specify websites or social media. So while it says you can't use property for political purposes, it's not totally clear whether Facebook counts as property. On the other hand, another attorney tells me if it's a matter of public concern, an official should use his First Amendment right to inform the people. One attorney says he advises, in order to stay out of legal trouble, it's best not to opine one way or another using official resources of any kind, whether they're free or paid for. But you can post, he says, factual information as long as you present both sides in an equal manner, and that could be paid or free. Mike, Andrea. Courtney Stanley's kids are headed into first and second grades at Osgood Elementary. Google Maps says it's more than a mile walking distance.
They had bus last year, the year before.
But a few days ago, Stanley found out this year they'll have to walk. But they won't be walking alone.
At the school, there was another mom near me who was also told that they're no longer bus eligible. And she works, and she has 3 kids, and she's doing it on her own, and she just broke down.
I can't have a bus because my school is almost right by my home.
7-year-old Aya Mahmood lives nearly a mile away.
I don't have a right, just only we have one car. It's a long way, how we can cross the street, in the snow time.
It's not like it's a new neighborhood with new paths and sidewalks for the kids to all walk down, surrounded by, residential homes. They're walking on big, long city blocks.
When I first registered my kids at Osgood, I was told that the bus does come through here.
Ashley Snyder just moved here in July.
We moved here thinking that I had a bus. My kids can't walk, and she said that they don't advise families to have their kids walk. That's up to the families. But I also told her I can't drive or afford to have a taxi come pick my kids up every day from school.
What's your plan so far?
I don't have one yet.
The school tells me it sent out letters back in November and May, letting parents know there'd be changes. But the letters say nothing about certain areas losing bus routes. In an email, the school says it has utilized 0.9 mile as their walk zone for at least the last 2 decades. There have been no changes to our policies or guidelines for this school year. But even if the policy itself didn't change, the school has. The school chalks up the lost bus routes to the fact Osgood previously taught K through 2nd grade. This year, it goes up to 5th grade.
I told them basically she's going to have a lot of absent days because there's no way for her to get to school.
These parents at least are aware of the changes. Some parents still think they have a bus route and say the school assured them they do. But according to the website, it appears some of them won't. In Fargo, rose.itzcovitz, Valley News Live.